Hello and welcome back to the Business Hour podcast, where we meet the people behind some of Ireland's most beloved businesses. But first, a quick shout out to our host here at Magic Door Studio, the epicentre of podcasting in North County Dublin. Aside from producing podcasts for some of Ireland's best and brightest podcasters, the Magic Door Studio team offers a full range of services for businesses too. If you're tired of paying for social media that ticks the box but doesn't exactly light the world on fire, if your social feed looks like all of your competitors' pictures and images of your products and services, then the Magic Door Studio can offer something that nobody else can. Content that is people-centered and drives authentic human-to-human connection with your customers. For information, pricing and more, visit magicdoorstudio.ie. Our guest today on the Business Hour podcast is somebody I've been very excited to meet. Her name is Olwen Kelly from Angelo Bridal. Hi, Olwen.
Hi.
So what do you do for Angelo Bridal?
So I'm the senior bridal consultant. So
Okay.
I would do consultations one-on-one with the brides, and I also do a lot of trend research for the company. So I would be picking up all the time on different products the brides are asking for that we might need to get in, like particular styles of veils or particular silhouettes for dresses. And I'd
very
also,
exciting.
yeah, it's a very interesting job.
Yeah.
And I'd also help to train new people in if we had another consultant starting, and just general work around the shop, just tidying up the displays and kind of keeping them fresh. And we do a lot of rearranging when we have new collections in to see what's going to look best with what, and the window displays, and yeah, a lot of different things. So the consultations would be my main part of the business.
Your main thing.
Yeah.
We'll come back to window displays and stuff. I want to ask you something about that, but I just want to ask you first. How did you find this path? Were you always I guess closed-minded, garments and stuff, or this is something you fell into? How did you end up at Angelo Bridal?
So I did a fine art degree in the National College of Art and Design, specialising in textiles. And after I graduated, then I was working in another bridal shop originally, and then the job at Angelo Bridal came up, and I decided to go for it, and I'm still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, they're lucky to have you. And it seems like a wonderful place to work. How many people actually work there?
So at the moment there are 1, 2, 3. There's 4 of us at the moment. Yeah.
Very good. And are you? So do all of you do consultations, or like is there a specific, like that's a specific role that you take on? I'm guessing, and does somebody else do that as well?
So there's two other women that would just do the consultations as well, and then we also have our alterations. So
okay, of course. Yeah.
Now she does consultations as well sometimes, but the alterations would be her main area. Yeah.
So let's just get right into it. So walk me through the process. I'm a bride. I'm coming in to see you. I don't know anything about bridal wear. I've booked. I guess people would book an appointment, would they first online?
No, well,
or call you?
The way we work usually is so we're closed on Mondays, but Tuesday to Saturday we work by appointment. And then we also have our walk-in days on Sundays. So on Sundays you can just drop in.
Okay.
So generally people go for the appointment though.
Yeah, they got space and time for themselves.
Yeah.
So they book in for an appointment, and then they come into you. How or where did it start? Is it? I'm sure it's a vast mix of, some people know kind of specifically what they want.
Yeah.
Others have no clue.
Yeah. So we deal with all kinds of different brides. So as you said, like you have some brides who come in and they're like, I want it in this color, and I want this length of a train, and I want this neckline, and I want this and this. And then you have some brides who come in and they're like, just put me in something you think is going to look good, and I'll see how I get on with it.
Yeah.
But generally the way the process would work is brides would come to us about a year or a little bit, maybe a year and a half before the wedding, and they'd book an appointment. Our appointments are for an hour, and when they book an appointment online, they have to fill in a little form that just tells us when their wedding date is, if there's anything in specific they're looking for. So we'd have a look at that before they come in. Now that's to a degree an optional thing. Some people will leave it blank if they don't have a specific date or they don't have a specific style, but generally it's a good idea to fill that out to give us a better idea of what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So usually we'd sit them down and we'd have a chat to them about like if the wedding has a theme or
Okay, cool.
that type of thing, or if they're looking for something specific. Or some brides will come in who are like the Pinterest brides, who are like super organized. Like you don't have to ask them any of that, because they'll be like, I want to try this dress and this dress and this dress and this dress, and I might want to try this one on if we have time. So depending on the bride, like we kind of tailor the appointments to them. So in the case where they kind of don't know what they're looking for, we kind of see like if the wedding has a specific theme or specific location. Because, like, for example, if they're doing like a beach wedding in Spain, they'll probably pick a very different dress to like a winter wedding in a castle in Ireland.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So the theme, the location is usually quite important. And then we kind of narrow down then if there's specific cuts that they're interested in. Like some brides would be like, look, my family are very conservative. I don't want any boob out. Don't show me any of the really low cut dresses. Or you'd have brides then, like, let's say for a winter wedding, it'd be like, look, I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures outside. I might want sleeves, or I might want a cape or some extra coverage. So every appointment is different.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, look, you know, the trajectory that the clothes in the garment industry has been on over a number of years is towards personalized and customized. I could only imagine that for brides, for bridal wear, that it's become very much that people want what they want for their day, and everybody has such different tastes and ideas and stuff. You mentioned about something, if I could just pick up on it, Pinterest brides. Are there other like categories of that you guys maybe informally behind the scenes would refer to brides as Pinterest brides, or what are there?
We
others?
do have kind of our own sort of like
Way
in our
of,
head
like,
system of kind of tailoring the appointments. So you'd have like your Pinterest bride who's like super organized, like planning the wedding a couple of years out, like wants something specific or wants a specific designer. Like she has all her table plans like completely ready to go, like who are like super organized. And then you'd have your kind of your destination bride. So they tend to go with more lighter kind of dresses.
This is where they go somewhere.
Yeah, where they go maybe to Spain wedding. Or to Italy, or I mean you have winter destination brides as well, but generally they're going somewhere hot if they're going abroad. So they're looking generally for something that's pretty light and breathable, that they can pack easily on a plane. And generally they have slightly smaller weddings, but not always. Sometimes you do get brides who are doing big weddings abroad, but a lot of the time if someone has a wedding abroad, people are like, no, I'll wish you well when you come back. So they keep their guest list a bit smaller. So you'd have the destination brides. Then you have your last minute brides. So they're coming like a couple of months before the wedding. Sometimes they're so close to their date that we actually don't have time to order them a dress. So we have to see what we can find them in the off the rack. Generally, like the very close to the date brides are kind of eloping and they're having super small weddings. So with them, it's the off the rack, or we have the option from some designers of placing super rush orders. But sometimes they're close enough that there's just off the rack as an option. And then you'd have your kind of big traditional Irish wedding, which is a lot of brides have fall into that category. So, like the dresses you'd pick for that are like pretty varied, because like obviously there's like all kinds of different venues in Ireland now. But that'd probably be our broadest category. And yeah, there's a couple of others as well. Like you'd have like winter brides as their own kind of thing as well. You know, looking for more, well, depending where they're having the wedding, but looking for more coverage or kind of more warmth.
Yeah, more practical.
Yeah,
more functional.
Yeah.
What trends do you see in the last year or two? Like recent trends in bridal?
So the latest thing that seems to be really, really coming in is the Basque waist silhouette. So that's the Basque waist.
Basque waist.
Yeah.
Is that like Basque as in like Basque country?
Yes. So it's basically a kind of a tightly fitted corseted top, and then it comes to a kind of a dropped V shape on the lower belly. So that's really, really, really popular now. Volume seems to be just coming back in across the board as well. We have a lot of very, very big ball gowns in again, with lots of layers and hoops and like the works.
Yeah.
Detachable sleeves are very popular as well, because you do get a lot of brides where they love the look of the sleeve for the ceremony, especially if it's in a church where they want to be a bit more covered.
Yeah.
But for the reception, they know they're going to be roasting, so they can just unsnap them.
I love that. That's
yeah. It's a really good idea actually.
What's that? Fashion should follow function.
Yeah. Or another thing that's becoming more popular is for brides to change out of their main dress and into something kind of more comfy for the evening time. So either into a more short dress or something that's kind of more form fitted that doesn't have a train.
So they can get a second dress from you guys for that.
Yeah, we have a lot of the kind of shorter dresses in at the moment, and we also have a few dresses that don't have a train that are kind of more easy to dance in, that don't have a lot of layers. And then the other thing that we're really seeing come back into style is the kind of more old style lace patterns. So the Chantilly lace and the Alençon lace and those kind of more like heavily embroidered kind of looks. For a long time, like you'd almost exclusively see the more machine embroidered floral patterns, but that's kind of switching back again.
Yeah.
And a lot of the more kind of traditional styles are really coming back into style in general, like kind of more modest dresses with...
Are there trends or styles that are just timeless, that have just been around, you know?
There are definitely timeless dresses as well. Like generally like the satiny styles, they don't really date too much. Like if you go fully plain satin, like satin strapless ball gown is like, you can't really put a date on it usually. Then and the same with the more fitted plainer dresses as well. Like let's say just a simple low back spaghetti strap dress that has no detailing, no embroidery, nothing. Like generally they don't really date so much.
Yeah.
That said though, I do kind of caution brides a bit if they're really focused on this idea of a timeless wedding, is like, even if your dress is the most timeless dress in the world, like everyone's wedding photos, like you can always tell roughly what decade they're from. Because like there's other things that you will be able to date the photo from. Like
course, yeah.
If you look at a picture from like 2010, like everyone will have a side part. Like, or if you look at weddings now, everyone will have like a center part in their hair, or you know, like higher stilettos were in style 10 years ago, and now a lot of people would have block heels. So like you can always kind of tell. I try to tell brides not to get too hung up on that idea and just kind of have fun with it as well, because you know, no one cares really if your 80s wedding looks like it was in the 80s. Like it's fine. Like yeah. So the people shouldn't be so worried about things being super timeless, I think.
I have to ask, obviously there's like the cultural idea, sometimes a lot of TV shows have been made around the entertainment value of difficult brides. I'm also with that on one side, and then obviously Irish people and how we are. Do you get many difficult brides, or do you find most people are pretty reasonable to work with?
I'd say like almost all brides are like very reasonable to work with usually.
Great,
like sometimes like generally when you do get brides who are being a bit difficult, it's nothing to do with them, they're just very stressed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it is like a very stressful time for them, like, and you don't know what's going on with other aspects of the planning, like if
absolutely, especially nowadays, you know, it's become even more, I hate to use this word, but kind of competitive, because weddings are front and center on social media. It's a representation for the bride, especially the groom, to a lesser extent, obviously, but sometimes it's a direct reflection on them, their tastes, their ability to event plan and project manage and all that kind of stuff. And it's a super stressful time. You know, back in the day, you could put a wedding together, there was some pictures, done. Whereas now for brides, they're hyper conscious of the fact that the eyes of the world are looking at them. It's their big day. People know they've spent a lot of money to pull it all together. It's got to be stressful to find just the right dress. Yeah. To just tick the box.
Or two dresses now sometimes.
Yeah.
If they're changing.
Yeah, or two. And actually, you know, I guess to a certain extent that's a credit to you guys, because if they go to you and they feel calm and in safe hands, that reduces the stress levels and takes away the difficulty. So yeah.
But yeah, they're usually fine.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about a different trend that I've spotted. The area we live in is very sustainability focused. I noticed that brides are more often trying to find ways to upcycle their dresses. And do something different. Can you talk about that? Have you seen that?
I've seen a lot of that lately, actually. So a thing a lot of brides will do is if they have an heirloom veil in their family, like their grannies or their aunties or their moms or whatever, they sometimes will wear the veil, maybe not even as their main veil, but they might try it on for a few photos in the morning. Yeah. Or if it does match their dress, they will wear it for the actual ceremony as well.
Super
so it's very nice. Or you'll have brides kind of sewing little pieces of their mom's dress into their dress. Or sometimes if they do have their mom's dress or their granny's dress, that like it would probably be a bit too out of style for them to not wear as their actual dress. But sometimes you do see brides upcycling them as their second dress or as something to wear maybe for the night before, the day after, or for the honeymoon. So that's very, very sweet. And you do get then brides after the wedding when they're not going to wear the dress again, and they know they probably won't have it in the house all the time, where they'll maybe some dresses are kind of suitable for being turned into mini dresses, so they can wear them for their anniversary. Or
that's cute. That's lovely.
Now it depends on the dress. Some of them just you couldn't do it with them. If the style of them is right, sometimes you can rewear them as a mini dress. Or some brides will keep them and cut them up for communion dresses or christening robes or like all kinds of things for their kids. So they do get a bit of use after the wedding as well. Or we even notice when brides are doing their alterations, sometimes they'll want to keep the scraps that were cut off their dress and have them put into their wedding album as kind of like a little keepsake thing. So the brides are very creative with what they'll do with their dresses.
So much more practical than that kind of trash the dress thing that was going around for a while, where people just ruined the dress. Like, why? There's so many other things you could do with it.
Yeah.
You've got such a well-made garment, and it means so much. Like, I personally love the idea of making it into a communion dress for a daughter or a niece or something like that. It's just that's lovely. I think I know the answer to this already, but you don't do clothes for men.
We don't.
It's
no,
ladies
just
only.
the brides.
Do you ever have men that would come in with the bride?
Grooms,
I guess.
Grooms, we do actually get a lot of that these days, to be honest.
Good.
You do notice it a lot more with brides who maybe don't have family in Ireland. If like women from other parts of the world marrying Irish guys, a lot of the time they will bring the husband to be with them because they kind of just don't really have their family with them, they're like, look, we're getting married, we're doing this together. So that's quite common now.
And do you find that the grooms will kind of like, are they paying attention? Are they kind of getting stuck in with their opinions and stuff, or are they just kind of stand off?
It really depends. Like, some of them are really like, oh yeah, this is perfect for our theme and this is going to look really good, and they'll be like pointing out stuff they think is going to be nice. And some of them, they're like nearly scared to be there because they're like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, this isn't my wheelhouse at all. So
I guess it depends on the bride as well. I would imagine for a lot of brides, they'd prefer if their groom would just stay quiet. But of course, it's great to see, and it's a sign of times that there's a mix of ideas. You guys are extremely busy. How long is the waiting list for like, let's say maximum tailored customized dress? How long does it take for you guys to produce that from? Can you talk me through from, say, the initial consultation, if they go back for other consultations, fittings, all the way through to eventually having that dress in their hand?
So it kind of depends on the bride and their timeline, but generally we would try to get them to pick their dress about a year before the wedding or a little bit before. The order time for most of the designers is around 6 to 9 months. Some of them we can get sooner than that on rush orders, but that's not guaranteed for all of the designers. And sometimes during busy periods, they'll just cut off the rush order as an option.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's 6 to 9 months just to get the dress in. And then normally, like, when you order your dress, something a lot of people don't realize is they're made to order rather than made to measure. So when you order your dress, we take your bust, your waist, and then your hip as well if it's a more fitted dress. And then we have a look at the size chart, and whatever size you're the closest to is what we order. It's not ordered to your exact measurements.
Gotcha.
So once it arrives in, they always need a little bit of tweaking to make them a perfect fit.
And you guys have an alterations person in-house?
In-house, yeah. And they also come as a standard length. So most of the time, like, it'd be very rare for a bride to have picked her shoes before her dress. So usually you have no idea if it's going to be the right length when it comes in. They're always going to be too long. Unless you're dealing with someone really, really tall. But even with really high heels, they're usually way too long. So once the dress comes in, they always need shortening. Most of the time, they'll need a couple of other things. Like, a lot of the time, the straps on them can be a little bit loose, or like bodies change in a year as well. So sometimes they need a bit of taking in or a bit of letting out. There's also a lot of dresses now that have a built-in internal lace-up corset. So when you tighten that corset, sometimes the outer layer of fabric can be a bit too loose.
Yeah. Okay.
So the outer layer then needs to be altered. And then there's the whole other layer on top. That would be kind of the basics. And then there's kind of a layer on top of that if you're going down the customization route. There's like endless things that people can want done to their dresses. Like we did a dress before where the bride, like her dream dress was blue, and it's very hard to find blue dresses in Ireland. So what she did was she picked a dress she really liked that had a satin top and a tulle skirt. And then she went online and she bought this sort of ombre light blue to dark blue kind of fabric. And when her dress arrived in, she got the dressmaker to detach the satin top from the skirt and have the blue layer put in under the outer layer.
Amazing.
So she had this ombre blue dress, and she had kind of ribbons added to the top that were blue as well to match it. We've made
fabulous.
like there's all kinds of custom things then. Like we've made capes for brides. We've made kind of custom hair piece things out of offcuts. Like there's sleeves, there's sashes, there's bows, like there's all kinds of things people want done to their dress. So that's usually you do a first fitting around 3 months before the wedding. If it's something really, really complicated, sometimes we bring them in a little bit sooner. And then if it's a very straightforward job, sometimes we even leave it a bit closer to the wedding.
Okay, so you might have a bride who comes in a year and a half in advance for the initial consultation.
Yeah.
But then most of the tailoring is done much closer.
Yeah.
Because as you say, people change. And, and you know, obviously after they've got the dress, then they can get shoes, then they can kind of customize the dress to match and stuff like that. Yeah, so sorry, I kind of cut you off. So 3 months out approximately, or a little sooner.
Yeah, and then you try to have the dress ready to go like a good 3 weeks out from the wedding. Although that doesn't necessarily mean they collect it 3 weeks out. Like sometimes the dress, they'll come in, they'll try it on, it'll be ready to go, and they'll say, "Look, I'll come and get it next week." Or we've had brides even like a few days before the wedding, when they go to travel to the venue, they'll just swing by the shop and collect it and take it with them
on the way.
But like the work would all be done like way before that.
Yeah. No, that'll be cutting it tight.
Yeah.
Do you do delivery as well, or just
we don't do delivery. Now we do have an online shop for accessories, but cool. For the dresses, just because they're such a kind of custom item, we would always insist that the brides come and try them and make sure they're happy with them and have a look at them before they collect them. It's kind of also just a bit of a risk shipping them, because like, you know, there's just nightmare scenarios that would go through your head if the post lost their dress or that. So we always insist they come and collect them themselves, or get someone really, really trusted to them to come and get it if they can't. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the wildest or most out there dress you've seen that has been purchased from Angelo Bridal?
Oh God, there's so many different ones that I could it's quite hard to actually think of a single one. There was one dress that we did all sorts of customizations on. It was full glitter. It was white underneath and had kind of silver glitter over it, and the pattern along the bottom of it was like drawn with glitter, and it was all landmarks of the world.
Wow.
It was really unusual. And so it had like an Eiffel Tower, and it had like, I think it had Big Ben, and it had like all these various different things along the base. And then it had a train.
They were all embroidered on, were they?
They were kind of painted with glitter.
Okay,
and then going up the dress, it had all these little painted stars that were all done in glitter. And then the top of it was all silver sequins. And it was originally meant to be kind of a halter style that had kind of a side boob thing on the sides. And then it had this massive cape that was like, must have been like 5 meters long. And it had kind of 2 sides to the cape, and each side was just fully done with sequins along the edge and then glitter towards the top. But the bride that bought it, like it wasn't 100% what she wanted to be when she got it, because like she was having a wedding in a cathedral, so she's like, look, I can't have this like side boob thing.
Yeah.
So she got the dressmaker to build an entire back into it.
Okay.
And originally she wanted it sheer, well, semi-sheer, and then we did the experiment where we made the sheer one, and then she went, actually, you know what, it's going to look way better if we just make it white. But then because the whole back of it was just white, it didn't really match all the silvery stuff. So he had to extract like we ended up like extracting some of the sequins from the cape and just kind of layering them into the back of the dress. And then the dress was originally a corset back, so they had to make a whole corset loop up the back of it. And then she wanted it with more volume as well, so we had to order in a big, I think it was a 5-hoop underskirt for it. And actually, it was very lucky that we did that because it was the perfect length once the underskirt went in, so we didn't have to shorten it. Because if we'd had to shorten it as well, it would have been a serious job. Because it was painted along the bottom, we couldn't shorten it from the bottom, so we would have had to do it from the waist. And then she had loads of sequins put into the waist, into the neckline as well, because it was kind of low at the front. But it turned out amazing. It needed a lot of fittings, but like it really came together.
Yeah, it sounds like an awful lot of work for you guys. It also strikes me as it's very princess-like, as you know, my perception of, from conversations I've heard of a girl dreaming about her wedding day and dreaming about her wedding dress and what it's going to look like, and that seems like that's kind of a merge of those creations. And then obviously she gets there and there's the functional practical realities of her side boob and the back and the, you know, the extra tailoring and fitting that needs to make it work. That must have been like, do you like working on kind of difficult projects like that? Like, it depends. Does that inspire you? Or is that
like, they can be very stressful when you're in the middle of them, but like when you see when they're ready to go, like there's a real kind of like, oh yeah, like that was brilliant, that looks so well. So like they're always worth it in the end. They can be quite stressful, especially if it's a dress that the dressmaker hasn't worked on previously. If it's like the first of a series,
yes, it
can be very like, I don't know what we're dealing with once we open this up. But like they always come together in the end. So
one thing is very clear from this chat and from the previous time when I talked to you before, is you're very passionate about what you do. Angelo Bridal is very lucky to have you, and by the sounds of things, you found the right place to be. That they're a team of people who are passionate about bridal wear. It's not surprising you guys do so well. Thank you very, very much for coming in for a chat. I really appreciate it. I've learned so much.
No problem.
And yeah, if you'd come back sometime, I'd really love that. Just an awful lot more questions I'd love to ask you about designers and that you work with and some of the other things. Olwen Kelly of Angelo Bridal, thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you.
You will.